unusual for Carl not to be here.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. We're starting off a little bit different tonight. I hope you guys like it. So here's what's going on. My producer didn't show, so I'm doing this on my own. So here we go. Tonight, my guests are from Paranormal Research Institute. You've met Scott before. He's down below me. To my right is Lisa Leva, and down below her is Angel K. We have one more guest that has yet to appear, but he will be here. But you guys already know Bart Taller, so it's all going to be good. So I would like to welcome all of you to the Paranormal Pride, and I hope you're all having a good night.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you for having us.
Well, yes, this is the first time I've met Angel, and so far I've been really rude and haven't really talked to her much. But it's very nice to finally meet you, Angel. I know I've invited you to some of the dinners and stuff we've had down there in Springfield, and you've always got something happening.
I did. It was you guys always did it when I was visiting. So, and now COVID and health and all that stuff happens. So.
Join the club. We've all got that going on. So, I'd like to say hi to Susan and Mike and Evelyn. I know you guys are here listening. So if you guys have any questions for the team as we go along, please ask your questions and we will get them asked and answered.
Angel's down there.
So they already know Angel.
Oh, okay.
So Ron doesn't know who knows who. So
yeah, I didn't get the book.
Yeah. And hey, April. So how did you guys all get together?
Well, I met everybody through and became friends with everybody and then got invited to the team later on. I think I've only been a part of the team for about 3.5 years now.
Okay.
I was originally in the group with Dan Williams, as you know, Denise, and then we met Mike Nichols. And then we met Peggy, Lisa, who's on the show with us tonight, and Peggy Casper, who couldn't make it. We met them at Kansas City Paracon along with Mike Nichols, and that's when they joined the group. And then a little bit shortly after that, Bart Towler joined the group. Our group basically came together because of the Kansas City Paracon.
Okay, so was that the first one you guys went to, or the second one?
My first one, Dan had went 1 year before that. I believe he met David Glidden somehow, and he invited him. And that year, Dan didn't speak, but then the second year that Dan made it was my first year. That's when Dan was invited by Jason Kupsik to speak at the event. And that's the same year that we met Peggy and Lisa and Bart and Mike Nichols. So
that means that I met Dan before you were part of the team.
Probably, yeah. You've known Dan quite some time too, so
yeah. I met him at the other Kansas City Paracon, and he wasn't speaking then, but he was just passing out his cards and explaining what his ideas were and what he wanted to do, and we just hit it off right away. So he's just a great guy. So, and Lisa, so how did you get involved?
Well, as Scott said, we were at Paracon. So Peggy and I are here in Kansas City, where Scott and Dan and Brandy and Kathy, they're all up in Illinois. And when we met them, it was Dan, Scott, and Brandy were the PRI. Mike had just joined when we finally were invited to, I shouldn't say when we finally were invited, but when we were invited, Mike had already joined the PRI. So Peggy and I, we're here in Kansas City and we have our own team. And we went to the Paracon to meet people, interact, learn, see what was going on in the local environment, and met Dan and Scott and got along real well. And then they went ahead and invited us to go on an investigation and then to join the team. So,
and it's funny, not to interrupt you, Lisa, but we had already previously investigated with Peggy and Lisa. And at one point, Dan and I sat down and had a conversation and said, every time we come to Kansas City, it wouldn't feel right not to investigate with Peggy and Lisa. So we know they had their own group, All Souls Paranormal, but we're like, well, we love investigating with them. Why not invite them into the group as well, and without them having to disband their group already together.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a unique situation. So we still keep our All Souls Paranormal here, but then I always refer to it as the PRI as like our big research team. It's the serious research. All Souls likes to always do research and historical preservation just as PRI does, but we don't do it to the same degree that we do with the PRI.
And then let's see, I met you, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
I met you in Ottawa.
Yes.
So when I went out there, and the thing is what's funny about that place is that I had told somebody probably 5 years before that auditorium was haunted, and they kept going. Who cares?
Not to interrupt, Denise. You mean Ottawa, Kansas, right? Not Ottawa, Illinois.
Yeah, well, I've been to Ottawa, Illinois because I watched David squirt brandy with his egg on his hamburger. So I was there for that. So when we came out to investigate Duffy's with you guys, and I told you guys about Larry, that was funny. That was weird. That was really weird. But we drove out there. I tease everybody. My grandson is baby Utica. My daughter decided that was when she was going to get pregnant. So my first grandchild not my first grandchild, but my first grandson was conceived that weekend that I was in Utica.
Yeah, when you said you met Lisa in Ottawa, I remember now that when we were on our way to Garnett, I believe we saw a sign for Ottawa, and I looked over at Dan driving next to me, and I'm like, "Hey, we're just a few minutes away from our home."
It's more than a few minutes,
right?
Yeah, if you go straight across 68 from where we live, that you're in Ottawa.
Yep.
But you know about where we live. You met us at the graveyard in Paola.
Yep.
So that was a fun story too, but we won't get into that. So how many people are in your team now?
12. We have 12 total. We are represented in 6 states. We have probably only 10 of us. Well, 9 or 10 of us are active, I would say. One of our members is in Alaska and had worked with Dan, and Catherine has stayed as part of the team. Obviously she doesn't come down and join. We're hoping to have her come down one time soon, or perhaps we can all go up there. That would be fun. And then we have another investigator that's out of Oklahoma who can join us on occasion. But the core of us we have 5 up north and 5 through the Kansas City / Springfield area. So
maybe you guys can add a couple in Florida later.
There we go.
I have something different to offer.
Yeah. Well, Pensacola is great. A lot of Florida is great. So.
Oh yeah, there's the downtown district there is all historic, and then I've been interviewing paranormal investigators down there just so that I can find out, what do I have to look forward to,
right?
Because there's no Sally House down there, but there's a lighthouse. Getting pushed down those stairs would suck. But I want to know where the haunted beach is. That's what I want. Where's the haunted beach? How's that?
Well, the Everglades are haunted with alligators.
well, the town that we're going to is the canoe capital of the United States. 1,500 miles of rivers that you can canoe. So, nice. Which means that there could be alligators, water moccasins. Thank goodness no piranhas.
That we know of. Right.
Right. Who knows what somebody brought and dropped off.
Right.
So,
right.
Oh no. So what are you guys' plans coming up?
Well, funny you ask. We're leaving this week for a Paracon in South Carolina. where we're going to be presenting again on our research that we have and we've published, and kind of exciting, and going to be a 3-day event in. Technically, I think it's in Pickens. It's the Haggard Mills mill site.
Yeah. My son-in-law's mother lives in Pickens. His whole family lives there. So we were going to go until we decided that everybody decided we're all ready to move now, Mom. So
Yeah, because Denise, you were on schedule to speak at one time, weren't you?
yes, I was.
Yeah.
But I was very cognizant of some things that some people do. They get on these schedules to speak, and then 2 days before they cancel. So they get all the publicity and they get on all these shows to talk about what they're going to be doing, and then they never show. And it's like, I don't want somebody to say that I did that. So even before they hadn't even gotten the banner set up yet for everybody. And when everybody in my family decided, hey, this is the time to move, it's like, can't spend $2,000 to drive out there with the whole family, because that's what we were going to do. We were going to drive out with my daughter and her husband, because I wanted him to see his family. I wanted them to see their grandkids, that kind of stuff. So it was going to be a family vacation, but a family vacation where I didn't have to take care of everything, where I could goof off.
I hear you.
So instead we're going to be moving. We're going down to Florida here in a couple weeks to hopefully find a house.
Oh, good.
And
We'll
get
have
that
to chat offline. We'll chat offline because I have a couple of places you don't want to look.
Oh, I already know. Gulf Breeze, Cantonment, and
Well, you don't want to be down by the Superfund site.
no. I don't want to also be in Fort Walton. It's high crime. So I've already done a lot of my homework, but yeah, I'm looking at.
This is regarding environmental dangers. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then yes, I need to know
Yeah,
that.
you want to talk to me offline.
I definitely want to know that. Hopefully, it's not in Pace.
I don't think so. And considering that you have a southeasterly trade wind at about 10 miles an hour, that's the other thing you want to look at. So,
Okie dokie. I'll have to look. So, and yes, that is possible, Cassie, that there could be some pirate ghosts. That,
oh, absolutely.
Pensacola Bay, Escambia Bay, who knows how far up boats made it back in the day, with especially those big wooden ones. I don't know. But so far, I'm not an aficionado on the history of Florida.
You will be soon, I'm sure.
I got time. I got time. So, so you guys are going out there. So make sure you give Brandon a hug for me. And I was just talking to him before the show anyway. So just checking on him. And so I think you guys will have fun. Make sure you take lots of pictures and stuff. And I will tell you what the locals say about Haygood Mill.
Yeah.
They say that if any place is haunted in town, it's that.
That's what I've heard from several people.
Yeah. But like I said, this is coming from people, family, I guess. I guess they're not family by blood, but family by marriage. So
that Airbnb we got, Denise.
Yeah.
See, I've been to Florida several times. So, is it growing up vacations? But we've always flown, so I've never actually driven out here. And so this will be my first stop in South Carolina. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, this Airbnb we got is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And there was like a warning on the Airbnb site that there could be bears on property.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of bears.
I've never seen that before.
Well, then you've never been to Gatlinburg. They're everywhere. That part of South Carolina is very, first off, foggy. That's part of the Smoky Mountains, so keep that in mind. There's also, with the bears, there comes other things as well. So, and today it snowed in South Carolina.
Yeah, we're supposed to have some wet weather this weekend from the current forecasts. So we'll see. We were laughing on our team meeting and saying that we needed to pack for summer, for winter, and a complete rainstorm. So,
well, that was what Amy Allen's issue used to be being when they used to not tell her where she, the area that she was going. She didn't know what to pack. So, but yeah, we have family that went out to where did they go? Hilton Head.
Oh,
Not a good time to be in Hilton Head. So I don't know. It is what it is. So if I was going, it definitely would snow over the weekend because we would plan on camping. So
yeah.
we
Yeah,
do
one of our friends is going to camp out there during the event. So I don't know if Brandon has camping set up for people that want to camp or not, but
there was supposedly
so.
free camping out there. So I think they have camping there all year long anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I know my son-in-law, he said that his mom used to take him camping out there.
Fun.
So, like I said, I got some inside information. As soon as I said something about going, his mom was like, "Let me tell you."
Denise, you know somebody everywhere.
I do. I know
You
people.
really do. You're a good resource with information.
Well, when you travel as much as we do, I mean, we drive everywhere. So we get to meet a lot of people. And I don't know if I would like going any other way. Getting to know the people that are there and living it. And I mean, even when we went to the Bahamas, we met people who lived there and talked to them and spent more time with them than, doing the touristy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say hello again to Michael, since you're there. Hey, Cassie, and hey, cousin Dan. So I have multiple cousins in the chat room tonight. So if you guys have any questions for PRI, please ask them and I'll get them answered. Have you guys gotten any more information on or any more stuff published to go with the random event generator?
well, no, Mike Nichols is currently working with another individual, we'll call it a third party representative, on a more, and this is kind of sounds ridiculous, but a more scientific version of his article. And that's a work in progress now. On when that's going to actually be published, I can't give you a date, but the two of those individuals, Mike Nichols and this other guy, Dave Schumacher, they're working on that right now. And the reason I kind of laugh at that, because the version that's out right now is a bit scientific. So we can only imagine how more scientific the next version is going to be.
You're going to need a dictionary to read it.
Probably.
At least the average person. I mean, if it's scientific, it's just not written at the 9th grade level.
Right.
And so it'll be written at a higher, probably more of a master's degree level.
Yeah, the version that's out now is, as much as entirely possible, was written for the I don't know, the word average is it's still a little bit above average in my opinion, but it's meant for people to read it and not be totally dumbstruck,
Well, when we presented in Joplin, I made a slide presentation for that, and I had to go through and really pare that down, is the way we'll phrase that. Really go through it. I had to go through it probably 3 or 4 times and really readdress it. And of course, with my job, I'm used to having to do that for juries, so it wasn't too difficult. But I mean, at the same time, you have to get the message across, keep it accurate, but make it so it's simple.
So just answering my cousin.
Real quick before we move on, is there somebody that is dealing with some heart issues? Because I keep having the most irregular random like heartbeats. I don't know how to explain it.
Like your heart is in your throat?
Yeah, kind of. Yes.
That'd be,
Denise, you want to say?
I was going to say, Denise, you've had heart problems for many years, right?
Well, mostly for the last year.
Yeah.
So they started was it last June? No, June before.
it's been a while.
So, Angel, that was a pretty good pickup there.
Yeah, last June.
It felt like it was sitting on my chest, and one of those things with being a medium is sometimes the message go away. So then you need to like up. So apologize for intruding, but
No, that's
No,
fine.
you're
I saw you over there kind of doodling, so I knew you were something was working.
oh yeah.
the wheels were turning.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't talk much about my heart condition because
Mhm.
I don't know enough to. I just know that I take medication for it, and I don't like to, but I do. Just seems really dumb. All of a sudden, something started, and it makes me wonder why it started suddenly. So, or am I just falling apart piece by piece by piece because I'm getting old?
Nah, not yet.
I'm gonna blame David Glidden.
Yeah.
He's I can blame him for a lot of crap. So
Like, yeah.
he's fun. So did you guys have fun down at the paranormal conference in Joplin?
Well, I had a blast.
We did.
Yeah, we had a lot. I mean, I wish some more people could have been there, but it is what it is. And for Dave's first Paracon, I suppose, if he decides to do it again, I'll try and go again, probably.
I know I had a good time. I had fun seeing everybody. It was like a family reunion for us.
Yeah.
So
I liked seeing you. Well, you guys and Carl was there, and it was a big paranormal family all together, basically.
I think everyone that showed up had a great time.
yeah, Ron. I don't know if you heard Ron, but he said I think everybody who showed up had a great time, and Susan said that her and Mike did too.
Mhm.
So, and April, I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you. I've just been so busy juggling everything here of late, but I do need to get back to you. So, yeah, hell, I'm still trying to find the title for my car after so many years.
4 years ago.
Yeah. So it's just been one thing after another. So I'm just going to smile and
Yeah, we're on top of things.
so, and I don't need a whole lot of talk in the back. So you guys are going out there. When are you leaving?
Say anything.
I'm Dan and I or Denise are leaving Wednesday after Dan gets off of work, which is about 4:00. We're driving out there Wednesday night, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to drive the whole way through. But if Dan gets to where he can't even stay awake anymore, we're gonna get a hotel.
So how
And-
long is your drive?
We calculated our drive to be about 12 hours.
That's not bad.
And the way we're going is we're going to cut south through Indiana, and we're going to go through Kentucky and Tennessee, and we're going to avoid going through Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I would go. Are you going to take 75 through Knoxville?
That sounds about right.
There's so got Buffalo Trace Distillery there in Frankfort, Kentucky.
We're doing a bourbon run ourselves. We're doing a bourbon run in June, I think it is. So
yeah,
that's on our.
Well, Buffalo Trace has a free distillery. Well, they have multiple free distillery tours, but they have a haunted tour Thursdays through Sundays.
Nice.
So, but don't tell them that you see anything because they go, yeah, whatever, and they walk away. And I've been on that tour, I think, like 5 times. But
So we're leaving Wednesday, and then Lisa, you and Peggy are leaving at the crack of dawn on Thursday, right?
Right. We're leaving probably pre-dawn Thursday.
And how long is it? I know I looked before to see how far it was, but I don't remember now.
Depending on exactly which route, which I've looked at like 3 different options. One going through Atlanta, which again, I'm not a big fan of, but I understand it because it's keeping you on the 4-lane interstate. But somewhere around 13 and a half hours is what Maps predicts. So
I've gone through, I have family in Bristol. So we always go 64, 75, across 40, and then take the exit there for Asheville, North Carolina, and go that way. It might be a little longer, but you're mostly on 4-lane.
And that's one of the options I was looking at was Asheville, because then we can just go pretty much south. And we're staying. I liken it for those of us around in our area. It's almost kind of like down in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Because where the houses that we've rented is close to a lake. We don't have lakefront property, but like the houses on either side of us have lakefront property. So It's similar to that. So there's not a lot real close. I mean, it's very small, might be a very small store, convenience store type of thing. But so my thought was trying to hit either Asheville or else go through Chattanooga and across that way. I'm still looking. I just don't want to go all the way to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's just I've made the trip down to Bristol. I mean, I'm from Baltimore, so I mean, going all this way. My family's been in Bristol since before I was born, so we've been going that route quite a bit. And see, there's the guy I was blaming. There's David. He just showed up.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
I was giving you crap, Dave. So I know I like the trip going through Louisville and Lexington and all that. It's just habit at this point. But you know, you can always take a little drive off and go see some of the other places. It's not too far off the road, but there's a lot of good places to eat along and lots of places to go to the bathroom. So, but
well, I have family in Columbia, and then we just went out and we're east of Charlotte for Philip's cousin. So, you know, we've made the trips, and then my brother lives in Athens. So it's like, if I do go down that way, we may have to come back and go swoop that way. I don't know. I haven't talked to Peggy about that yet.
You got lots of good options. From where we're moving, it's a 7-hour drive. So if they ever do it again, we'll get a chance to go next time and be much closer. So, because like I said, I've already looked, because I told the kids, I said, you guys are going to have to find a way to get up there to see Tyler's family, because they haven't seen the grandkids and they need to. So, but that's me. I think everybody needs to see the grandkids, whether they're my grandkids or their grandkids. They need to see them. So, so you guys are going to be speaking about the random event generator down there as well. Mike's not going.
No, Mike's not able to make it physically, and I'm not sure. We're gonna see, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to remote in or not. And that's always kind of sketchy, because we're kind of out in a rural area, and so we'll see if we can get some, internet, maybe do some lives or something. But
well, I know that he's doing a lot of stuff. So
yeah.
So Mike asked, what is Angel picking up?
Me?
Yeah. Because apparently you're busy.
Who asked you that?
Mike Roberts.
I'm just getting a mail. I think maybe a J name. Feels like they passed away from an aneurysm in the brain. That's all.
Oh, okay. So if any of you guys have a J name that passed away from an aneurysm or something of the brain, let us know. So we'll keep letting Angel speak out when she wants to. Do you guys have any other plans for this year?
Oh, I don't think we've gotten that far yet. We usually try to do a couple more, but I don't think we've gotten. We'll probably be planning some of that, talking about some of that during this trip, seeing where we want to go.
Yeah, Denise, I talked to Dan the last time I talked to Dan, we said that when we go to this trip in South Carolina, we're going to talk about when we can make the next trip, probably to Kansas City this time, and where we'd like to go. I know there's a winery that's outside of town somewhere there that we'd like to hit. Lisa, you might know the name of it. You and Peggy might have been there before.
Belvoir Winery, the old Odd Fellows home.
Some of the buildings aren't even open anymore, aren't they? I don't know.
We were up there a couple of years ago, and we were able to go into all of the. I think there was only one building we didn't go in. But I don't know what's happened recently. The ones we were in were structurally okay. They just, they're old and they don't have windows, and so they're susceptible to a lot of the elements.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten to do the actual hotel or bed and breakfast.
It's very noisy. Mm-hmm. The doors don't go all the way down to the bottom, and the transoms, so it's noisy. We stayed for our anniversary one time.
Hi, guys.
Hey there, Bart.
Hey, Bart.
Found my keys.
There's been, lots of different things. We investigated that with the creeps.
Uh-huh.
So and there's a lot of places you can't go. You can't walk on some of the floors in certain rooms because the floors are going to cave in.
But why is Bart being a doofus?
Because that's his job.
Because it's Bart.
I'm just making sure this thing is on.
Is this thing on? Who knows?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Joey. I spy Joey.
There he is.
Hi, sweetheart.
Joey's going to get an all access pass to the Paracon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the topic so I can get caught up here?
You.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How did you join the PRI? That's kind of what we've covered and what we're going to do, where we're going, and what we're going to do in the near future. So
That's
we've
where we are.
gotten that far along.
Okay.
And Bart, we talked about how everyone came into the group, and I just said that you were invited, or I believe Dan said something to you at one of those Paracons, right?
Yeah, it was Kansas City actually.
Yeah.
Where we all first met.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and it was well worth it. So made some great friends, and basically they're my second family now.
It's funny
Appreciate
that we all basically met through the Kansas City Paracon at different times.
Yes.
Except for Amy, I'm sorry, but we met. Shoot, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I know that the one that I was at, Rick Rose was there, David Glidden, Gary and Carl, Frank Bennett, shoot, I know their name, just suddenly went blank. The people from the Independence Jail, Jimmy was there.
Dustin
And
Don
so-
and them.
Yeah,
Rescue.
I think Denise, that was the first year that my company sponsored Paracon.
Sugar Creek.
No, that wasn't Sugar Creek. It was
Yeah,
the
my-
one.
I went to was Sugar Creek.
It was
Okay.
the Masonic Temple, Bart.
Yeah, the Masonic Lodge. Yeah.
That was the second one I went to, and
Yeah,
something
that
had
was the
told
one.
me while I was there.
Yeah, that was the one that my company sponsored, because we sponsored like 3 or 4 of them at one time.
I had heard about the one in Sugar Creek, and
It
we
was
did not go.
tiny. Yeah, it was teeny tiny. It was strange. They had people speaking, and we're all sitting around, and you can't talk to anybody because you're speaking over the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to talk, you had to go outside. So luckily the weather was nice because it was August, but yeah, it was hot as hell, and you really, in our case, we couldn't really leave while we were there. We kind of pretty much had to stay there the whole time because we didn't want to go out driving around. So I don't know. I know that when we went to the Masonic Temple, the one there was a Masonic Temple, the one on Holmes Road.
Yes.
That one was
a
weird.
lot.
Yeah, that one was weird. As soon as I get there, it was funny. Chuck Banks comes and grabs me and starts dragging me down to the trees. And I'm like, I used to live in this area. I don't want to go by those trees.
No kidding.
I was like, I used to live by Bannister Mall. Don't
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used to drive through that area to get to work. And it's like, this is not a good neighborhood. I don't want to be... some lady had just been found shot to death in her car down by the water tower. Why do I want to go down?
You remember that, Scott?
What's that?
About the woman being shot?
Yes.
Murdered close? Yeah. That made an impression on Scott.
Yeah.
I know that was one of David's favorite Paracons. That's where you guys stayed downtown. And he talks about the guy who wanted to borrow a lighter.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That story's been told a million times, and it doesn't get any older, I guess.
No, he was telling us about that the morning after. I was like,
Yeah, I used to run that area when I was repossessing people for the bail bonds company.
repossessing people.
Yes, and oh my gosh, that is a nice little neighborhood over there.
Yeah.
And then I think the other one was the scariest one was the Masonic Lodge that was downtown when you had the zombies in the park.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You're probably waiting for somebody to come and try to eat your face off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Koopsa could ask me after that Paracon was over, because the PRI, we were the last ones to go on there at nighttime, and Koopsa could put us on that schedule because he thought it was a compliment basically to put us on late,
right,
to keep the audience there to want to see us. Well, by the time we go on, everybody's leaving. And Jason comes up to me and he's like, what's going on? I said, well, let me tell you, Jason, you're from the city, so this doesn't bother you. But I said, people that are not from around here, this isn't where they want to be at 10 o'clock at night.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but even the people who have lived here for almost 40 years don't want to be down there.
Right.
And I mean, again, like I said, I grew up in Baltimore.
Yeah. I think the only saving grace on that event was the guy that was out there selling the ice cream and the gelato, because he was drawing people out there, and because it's kind of like the little guy in the van, come here, little girl. Yeah, I got candy in the van type thing. So yeah, I went out to see the zombies. Oh my God, that was interesting. But it was a beautiful venue, though. It was a beautiful venue.
Well, the building itself was extraordinary. It was it was like parked in the middle of the crap neighborhood. Which I'm sure when that temple was built, that neighborhood probably wasn't so bad, and then it got worse as the years went on.
Yeah.
Well, you're not that far from where all the ghosts and gangster tours are at, and lots of bodies are found in other places back in the day. So
yeah.
I mean, if you go with the history of downtown Kansas City.
Yeah, it had a pretty big mob thing going on for Kansas City.
Yeah, they were actually, if you go back to one of the places that we've been, and some of you have probably been there too, but Bobby Mackey's.
Yes.
They used to launder money through Kansas City. One of the, when they were doing all the mob that was there, that was operating all the stuff, they used to launder money through here to get it to Vegas.
Yep.
So, and the history of that area is just amazing. And I don't understand why they don't go more into that relationship in New Florence, Kentucky, into the mob, because that was bigger than the fake story of Bobby Mackey's. So I'm just saying.
One of the coolest places in Kansas City is a theater that I used to do shows in, the Madrid Theater. Al Capone used to actually have that as one of his meeting places. And you can go down into the sub basement, and there's actually bullet holes in the metal doors down there.
Wow.
And the rumor is that they used to take people down there to kind of off them.
There was a place that we went to in DeKalb, Illinois, the Egyptian Theater. You may know about that, Scott.
Yeah, we were at that event with you guys, remember?
Yeah, we investigated the theater there 2 nights in a row, and there was something mob related there, but I don't know. I have to find out. That I never researched the history. It's not my job to do it there. It was a one-time thing. I was going there for 2 nights and leading tours, and then from there I was done. I don't even remember half of the stuff because it was a one-time thing. But if you ever get a chance to check that place out, it is the last Egyptian theater east of the Mississippi. The last one. There's only 3 left.
Wow.
It's amazing. It is beautiful inside there. But they had a similar history. But I didn't find any bullet holes, but I heard that there was something related to the mob in there.
Angel, what are you getting now, hun? Can you hold it a little closer?
Here, let me remove us for a second. Let's add her back. Okay, now Now what did you draw there?
You're on mute, babe. You're on mute. There we go.
It's a woman. Think it's probably like a wedding dress or possibly like a ball gown type situation. She's just coming through pretty strong. I don't know.
Was that when we started talking or before we started talking about like the Masonic one downtown?
It started when you guys started talking about the downtown event.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Like she was there for an event or something.
I don't know. I just started drawing it and kind of zoned off, so I'm not really paying attention to what all was being said.
Well, is that really old church right down there.
Yeah.
And it's old. I mean, I think that church has probably been there since like the 1850.
But it definitely has like a much older feel because it's got like the big poof on the back.
Oh, the
like
bustle?
a bustle?
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
Well, that's
Now that would be about the 1880s, 1890s.
Yes.
With the bustle.
Unless one of you have been somewhere recently that would be the case. I don't know. It just started coming in and I just started drawing it.
Interesting.
could be.
I have not worn my dress with the bustle for probably 30 years. So it was for a DAR event.
Well, you never know. These days, some women have some really big butts and don't need a bustle.
Right.
Who knows? I don't know.
I like big, but I cannot like.
Hey, I have performed to that song at McPike Mansion. And apparently it was really memorable to some people. So
That's what Ron told me.
he didn't even see it. He was in the basement at McPike, and I was out cleaning trash cans, and just the song came on, and they had a DJ, and I'm the main person that the owner yells for everything when I'm there. So I'm cleaning out trash cans, and my butt's just going everywhere. So it was aerobic exercise. That's what I said. So,
There you go.
Close to a cemetery.
So we got all this out of the way. So
Okay, come on.
current events. Let's talk about some current events.
Okay.
Angel, there was something that you had on your Facebook page, and I said, well, maybe we could talk about that. Somebody said something about mediums being a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
You remember that post?
Yes, I remember. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I obviously the
Sorry.
this I have. I've heard the prove it things. There's always the talk of the frauds and the fakes and the dime a dozen comments, but I'm hearing a lot more recently than I have in a long time. While there are frauds and fakes in the community, obviously you get that in everything. I think that there's value in those who are authentic. And I don't feel like, I'm trying to be appropriate here.
Diplomatic.
Yes. I don't want the new mediums to the field, the psychics or the mediums or what have you. I don't want them to be discouraged and put themselves that way. But at the same time, understand that you may have to earn the respect of and trust of people. But it's just frustrating to hear it so much from the community when there are those who are.
Well, I agree. I mean, and yeah, everybody has to pay their dues, whether it's paranormal investigator, psychic medium, dog catcher. Everybody has to pay their dues I got you muted, Bart. I'll unmute you here.
Oh,
But,
no worries.
So, I agree though. There are, I've said this 100 times if I haven't said it more. There are good people and bad people in every profession.
Absolutely.
So
I agree with that. I agree with that.
you have to go with your gut on who you're going to trust and who you're not. And then, of course, this leads into everything we've been hearing in the last day the last few days about people faking evidence and people losing their shows because of this or that. And it's like, it's all paradrama, which in every field there's drama. I work for a telecommunications company. Well, we're going to call it teledrama because that's what it is. I mean, it happens everywhere. So in every job that you have, there's going to be some drama somewhere. So basically, people have to get out of high school, be adults, and just let it go. Or
Right.
be honest about it. Speak up about it. Don't candy coat it.
And I think one really important piece that people forget, and it could be the cause of some of the drama, is stop expecting you out of other people.
That's a good way to put it. I think if everybody had or demonstrated integrity, that would help a lot. That would go a long ways because I don't trust a lot of people, period. I just don't. And again, I can say it again, I'm from Baltimore. There's a lot of people there that have been bad in life, and I don't trust people. So, and I guess, my 2 days of talking are Mondays and Tuesdays. After that, you guys don't really hear from me. And that's just how it is. So I don't know about you guys, but how do you feel about some of the stuff that's come to light about, all the drama that's been happening in the last few days?
I have to say, I'm not familiar with what's been happening. I've been very busy and the most I know is that I've heard a bunch of shows have been canceled, and I can't even find which shows those are, except the one we were talking about pre-show.
Kindred Spirits. They talked about Paranormal Lockdown being canceled, which we already all knew that. Because that's been a long time.
Portals to Hell, I know, has been. I saw Michelle Belanger's post about that one.
And let's see.
But I thought Kindred Spirits was safe.
According
to Amy and her posts, I thought they were safe.
I saw something just a little bit ago.
It should be canceled.
Yeah, it should be canceled. It's horrible.
The reason why that show's canceled because I met Amy the other day and she's moving in with me tomorrow.
Oh, so you wanted a kid,
leaving Mr. X, huh?
Right.
You wanted a couple kids, or you always want to investigate only places that you have events at.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a notable point.
Yeah.
Although this last season, I think it's been a little better, but
or I just want to investigate with flashlights that turn on every time you stomp your foot.
Don't even go there, because we all know how I feel about that.
Yep.
But I did see an article written by Mustafa talking about that, and I was like, yes.
Ooh, I need to see that article. I'm curious about that.
So
About that venture.
I just, it is what it. I mean, he just talks about how it works and stuff, and I'm laughing about it because it matches up with what I say, and I'm like, and of course we only take not credit. We only put stock in the things that we believe. That's another problem in the paranormal. Sometimes we don't open our minds up to let in all the stuff.
That way mentality.
Huh?
Are you guys catching Angel's mic going in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
if it's far away or what it is, Angel. Well, I know, and I've usually watched all the shows because for years I've had a group that meets on usually once a week, and we go over a show and we critique it and we comment on it. I say critique it, but we give our feedback and comments. And I think one of my favorite responses when people ask me about something that has happened, and it's like, that's really interesting, or that's really fantastic if it really happened that way. And I always give it as a caveat because you don't know what all is really happening. You don't get to see the entire area. Usually they've narrowed in the camera and you only see a little bit, and the way the editing works, and now I won't say Photoshop, but the CGIs and that, you just don't really know. So it's like, that's fantastic. One of the ones we were talking about was Ghosts of Morgan City, where they caught the apparition walking through that was truly in a period nurse's uniform. And being a nurse, I have done the history. I recognize the uniforms in that. And it was fantastic. And I said, that is absolutely fantastic if it really happened.
It was a hologram. I swore it was.
Well, and it was very
too detailed.
Too good.
It was very good. That's why I give those caveats, because it's like, if that's real, it was fantastic, but I don't know. But then you have other, like Ben Hansen turns around and makes a comment that, it's the best capture he's ever had. And if he never gets anything else ever in his life, it's there. And that was during so I don't know.
TV.
I wasn't there. I can't say.
Well, but what's funny is, if it was real, wouldn't it have been on all the news shows all around? So, see, Lisa, this is the reason why you and I get along.
Right.
Because
I'm having been in news, and I mean, I started in radio and television before I went into nursing. And so that's, one of the things too. It's like, it should have been everywhere.
It should have been. It was like, years ago, somebody used one of these ghost cameras, and they took a picture in a hospital, and it made the news in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fake. It was ghost camera is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it, because you could pull up the image search and you could find it and go, look, that's this. And they didn't do their homework. But again, it was picked up by national news, and it was being played everywhere, and they didn't do their fact checking, and it made all this news. And so now they're a little bit leery, but still, if it had been real, everybody and their brother would have been sharing this everywhere, going, look, they're real.
Right.
I mean, the same with aliens. We get an alien walking by on a Ring camera. It's going to be out there. Right. Not just on Paranormal Caught on Camera. It's going to be on the news.
Well, me coming at it from a production side of me coming at it from a production side, I see the editing and stuff like that, and it's easy for me to spot. So, that's why I quit watching them shows. And then I got tired of throwing stuff at the TV and having to buy a new TV every couple months. Because it just really chaps me to see some of the stuff these guys are putting out, and it's not making world news.
Yeah.
Well, and then you have the other issue where when they go in and they talk, because one of the reasons I like to watch it is I get to go to places that I wouldn't probably get to see. And, especially overseas. I like to watch a lot of those too. But we used to actually have a game on, if anybody remembers Most Haunted with Yvette.
Oh, yeah.
We actually would usually make bets on how long was it going to take her before she screamed.
Oh, yeah.
And how many screams was she going to have during the show? I mean, some of it we played along with, but it was beautiful to see the buildings and to learn some of the history. But then again, we have the history that isn't always factual that's being presented, especially on these shows. And it's very frustrating with that, Denise, as well, coming from a historical perspective, that's so frustrating And there's a location very close to us that I refuse to work or go to because what they perpetuate for history is not factual at all.
There's a lot of those places.
You know it extremely well.
Oh, yes. and I was asked to not tell the truth.
Right. Because it doesn't sell.
Yeah. And the thing was, they also told me I had to turn over all my research.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, I've got somebody who wants to interview me on the Sally House tomorrow for their blog.
Is that what we're talking about?
Possibly. But somebody wants to interview me on that tomorrow. So
It's okay, we know.
We know. And you know what? I don't miss that drive.
Right.
What really frustrates me about these shows is the fact that not only the drama between the team members, but also everything has to be a demon. Every noise is a disembodied voice. Every knock on the door is an answer to a question. It's like, and I'm thinking, why does it have to be that way? Well, I'm going, well, that just speaks volumes about the attention span of the viewers. The reason everything has to be a demon is because if it's not, they're going to turn it off and watch some other show. That's why I liked the original Ghost Hunters, because there was a few episodes where they didn't get shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you were looking for a demon, you got to watch a different show because they didn't get one every episode.
Or how about that one in California where they were faking the crap in the mirrors and stuff?
Yes, that
That one was one of the best ones. But even Ghost Adventures got some of those. Some of the people that I feel were lying.
Yeah, but they didn't call them out.
But you know, one of my favorite episodes, and I loved this series, was the Demon Files with Ralph Sarchi.
I love
And I love talking about that one. And this was when I really started paying more attention to him, when he called out that family
in Nixa.
Yeah, and walked out.
I've got some background on that you may want to hear someday.
Oh, that would be interesting. But yeah, I mean, you know, he's pulling off to the side. And he's like, they're not doing what we're asking him to do. We're asking him to go step over here so we can talk. And then we find out that they're eavesdropping, and then they're saying other stuff. Their story's changing. And he's like, I call bullshit and I'm out of here. And he left. And I loved it.
The best part of that was when he asked the father, why? The father made a deal with the devil over making a deal, than praying to God. Why would you go straight to the devil when you could go to God to ask for help?
Yeah,
I don't know. So
and then of course he doesn't have a show now.
No, I mean there's only 4 shows, but you know what? He was helping out. He was a consultant for Evil. He is a consultant for that show Evil.
I can see that.
He really
That show actually, there's very few shows that I kind of get the hinky feeling. Like I get uncomfortable. Yeah. And that's one of them. There's that one. And again, A Haunting oftentimes, and Terror in the Woods. Those, I don't know if I'm picking up on stuff from the storyline. You know, I mean, like I literally feel the emotions and things that have happened when they're telling the story, especially revisiting it, and then the recreation of it. And
I'll tell you, Evil though, it is so true to, it's factual on some of the stuff. I mean, how you would deal with it is factual when, you know, you look at the stuff. I mean, even Supernatural, for the type of show that it is, it had a lot of stuff that was factual in there. Sure. On this. Can you prove that there's a Wendigo? No, you can't prove it. But how you deal with, you know, these other things, saying these spells and curses and all that. You know, not that I want people out there doing spells or curses, but when you hear it, you're going, okay, I understand why they're using Latin and why they changed this word. You know, because they would change a couple of the words so it wouldn't do, you know, have a curse hit everybody's houses watching it.
Right. Well, and some of that is kind of like why you know, I've had a hard time watching medical shows being a nurse because, you know, they'll have somebody intubated and yet they're talking. And it's like, okay, first of all, that's not working. You know, there's just some basic concepts, or they've got nasal cannula in, which is oxygen in the little tube up your nostrils, and you hear the ventilator sound in the background.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
That's not the way it works.
No.
You know, so there's stuff like that you watch, and sometimes they've stated that they purposefully don't do it exactly the way so that nobody can go out and recreate. The weirdos can't go out and recreate stuff. So
yeah,
did anybody happen to catch the show last night on Travel Channel? Vampires in America?
No.
I don't watch any kind of paranormal related shows.
Well, I had to have something on while I was making our new team shirts for the trip. And
want some rice, Jimmy?
It was very interesting. These followed basically two real life vampire hunters in America. And it was just, my daughter came down and she's like, they're actually letting this on TV on the Travel Channel. And I was like, apparently. It just was kind of interesting that it was there. I don't know.
The way I look at it is the paranormal is it's almost a belief system. It's a matter of opinion. If you want to look at the whole paranormal spectrum, Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, whatever, it's your choice to believe in or not believe in whatever you'd like to. Mm-hmm. I'm probably one of the more skeptical ones in the PRI. I don't really believe in a whole lot until I see it. I've seen some shows where these cryptids, it starts with Bigfoot and then it expands to Dogman and Pigman and Goatman, and I'm like, when is this going to stop? Is it going to be a 3-headed wolf next time, or you know? But it frustrates me. But then I look at it this way: I can't prove it or disprove it, so why am I stressing out about it?
All right.
It's your choice.
In Texas, that's like the pterodactyl.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, Alton's got something very similar when you think about the Piazza bird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but nobody's actually said they've seen it in about 100 years. You know, and
well, it doesn't mean that it wasn't there, or was it something that was there that was mutated? You know, who knows? Right.
And this thing was there. They said, you know, Lewis and Clark said that they saw this bird painted on the, you know, the cliffs there back in 1804. So, or not 1804. Yeah, it was 1804. So they saw it way back then. So it's been there longer than probably a lot of other things. Mm. So it'll be interesting to know more about. I mean, I did a lot of research on the Piazza bird when I was doing a lot of stuff in Alton, but you know, do I believe that it really exists now? I don't know.
Well, you know, my biggest thing is, you know, I see all the equipment that these guys are using, and it's like a lot of the stuff they're using, they're improperly using, and you know, especially like digital recorders and stuff. You know, they're playing back right there. You know, and they're using the speaker that's coming out of the digital recorder, and it's like you hear that EVP, and they're not analyzing it in, you know, with real equipment that they could, you know, substantiate what they recorded.
Right.
Oh my goodness, Joey's trying to tell me my sugar's low, so
well, take care of that.
Oh, I will. I've got some stuff here to eat. But her, you know, the biggest thing is, you know, I see like the SLS camera. It's like that's been debunked, but you know, people still use it to this day. Mm-hmm. You know, I think the only way we're gonna figure out is, you know, it's gonna take somebody, you know, standing next to me, some spirit standing next to me, telling me to get out or pushing me down a flight of stairs before I'll know it's all real.
Well, you know, you brought it up. How come, and this is something for people to think about, how come when Ghost Adventures gets a EVP, 9 times out of 10, it sounds like one of the guys with them?
That's true.
It sounds like that. Or you hear, and it's somebody's hit the mic on their, their recorder there, and they hit it with their hands, or they're moving around. It catches some wind or some wind out the backside there. But you never know, but I mean, how many times have you seen somebody holding a recorder and walking around, and, they hold it, with their hand up here, and you just don't know how often that they're, moving their hands on there.
Or you put it in your pocket or something and you forget, and then you go back to analyze it, and because you were doing the walkthrough tour, and all you can hear is and you can't do anything.
Right, and you interpret it as that you got an EVP.
Yeah, and I'm going to cover I'm going to cover some of that while we're down in South Carolina at the Paranormal Convention. I'll touch base on a little bit of the audio recordings and stuff like that. But yeah, I have this,
well, one of the things,
a lot of the equipment that's out there, it's not scientifically proven. It hasn't been peer reviewed by actual people that know electronics, that know audio or video or something like that. And they're just putting it seems like everybody's just putting out crap.
This one here, you're gonna have to beat the crap out of it though to get
well, we had that at McIntyre. There was a cat ball on the bed, and it started going off, and I tried everything. I had to get like this close to the cat ball and hitting the bed to make it go off. So how it was going off with just me in the room, I don't know. But
right.
Bart, what was it that you took apart? Was it the REM pod? And you put a microphone in it?
Yeah, the REM pod actually has a microphone in it, and it also has a sensor that it's almost like a vibration sensor, or if you actually like keyed up it gets a radio transmission blowing by, like a random FM radio station, that can set it off. I know that our two-way radios would set it off.
Yeah, RF sets off a lot of stuff that people wouldn't even think of.
Yeah,
and that's one of the important things that I like with us, that we factor that. Now we'll report it if it happens to our cartographer, but at the same time, it's one of those that we can look at and analyze. And that's one of the things that you like to do, Bart, is look at what radio stations, what frequencies are out there near the location that we're at. Yeah,
because actually anybody can do it before they do an investigation. They can go to a website that Shure Microphones puts out, and actually all the major wireless microphone manufacturers have a database of radio stations within 100-mile radius of you, or television stations, stuff like that. Shouldn't
it do it more consistently than just a random here and random there?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Would it do it more consistently if it's a true like TV station or a radio station interference?
No, it just depends on the atmosphere. Because during like sunspot times, when you have sunspots going off, you can do radio transmissions around the world. And that's why ham radio operators like to talk during high activity from the sun.
Yeah, electrical storms are great for that.
Oh yeah,
we're not electrical sunstorms, and there's a website or there's a app for that as well.
But Shure and Sennheiser and all those guys have these deals out, so you can, because I have to use them when I program wireless microphones to find out what frequencies are best for me to use and which ones are open, so I don't interfere with somebody else, or somebody else doesn't interfere with me. Because last thing you want, and I've had it happen, especially during Super Bowl, where a McDonald's restaurant within about a mile radius, their wireless headsets were coming across and blowing, like 4 of my microphones away. So I had to, reprogram those microphones so they wouldn't have interference. And, and it will interfere with those, the K2 meter. Okay. The company that makes the K2 meter they started out making those little clicker dog whistles. And then they came up with the K2 meter. And that thing is so easy to set off, it's not even funny.
Mhm.
At least a little bit of vibration or even just a little bit of electromagnetic field coming through a piece of wire or conduit will set it off.
Mhm.
And so,
But they have
just-
their uses. They do have their uses.
in some ways, yes.
Well, I mean, like when we did a house, I'm going through and I'm checking to see how high is the EMF next to their bed because of the alarm clocks and that. And knowing that high EMF can cause other issues, then, is that something, are they being exposed to more?
Well,
That's where it could be a valid issue. And maybe that's what's causing their headaches. It could cause
Yeah.
hallucinations.
well, there's actually more sensitive meters out there.
True.
And more quality meters versus something that has about $5 worth of parts in it.
But they charge you a lot more than that for it. So
Yes, but you're getting a true accurate reading of what's going on. Like my voltmeter has a actual thermometer in there that I can that I use for HVAC stuff. It's very sensitive. Same thing, with electromagnetic fields. I can detect that, pinpoint precise and actually give me a actual data reading, and I can log stuff like that. So, I see a question. I live within 3 miles of 5 cemeteries.
Yeah, Lisa asked, does someone live close to a cemetery? We live within 3 miles of like 5 cemeteries.
Yep. I've got one 3 blocks from me, and then I've got another one that's about 2 miles from me. I'm within about 4 or 5 different cemeteries.
Yeah.
So.
And then we have the closest one to us is less than half a mile. You have to go by it on Metcalf to get to our house.
Yeah.
I'm about 3/4 of a mile from ours, I think, our closest one, but I don't know. Angel's picking up on something, so I threw the question out to the audience to see if anybody.
Y'all, it's just killing me. Like the headache is major right now. I'm just saying.
Well, maybe one of us has an aneurysm and we don't know it.
I already have one of those. So.
Well, we don't want you to have another one.
Yeah, don't blow.
So
Bart, if Joey's telling you, you better. Bart,
Actually-
if Joey's telling you better eat something, you probably should, right?
So we're going to take a quick commercial break here. So
Okay, I'll grab something real quick.
Yeah, please. And so, Carl, can you run that commercial, please?
All right, give me just a second. I'll go grab my stuff.
Go do what you got to do.
Yep.
The views expressed here are solely the opinions of the hosts and the guests, and not necessarily those of the network, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc. If you have an issue with the content of the show, please contact the show host. Thank you.
In the time when the world around us was falling apart, I answered the call. I left and you called me a hero. When I returned, you didn't care. Now you treat me as an outcast? 22. That's how many of my brothers and sisters die each day. 22. Every day I struggle with my demons. Every day is a war that I feel I'm losing. Every day I wonder if I'll be number 22. I fought so you could keep your freedom. The least you could do is acknowledge my existence.
So some of us are back, and that's good. So
I'll be right there. I'll be right there.
take your time. We can talk about you while you're gone.
He's not going that far, but that's okay.
As
He
long as
stays turned around. We'll talk behind his back.
well, it's fun. So
That's not what I wouldn't say to his face. That's pretty much the way. Throwing little treats to the dogs so they stay behaved.
oh well.
So is it a little better now, Angel, or is it still? Are you still just getting a lot of input, a lot of information?
So do you have anything you want to share, Angel? Is she frozen?
I don't know. No, I saw her blink.
So there she goes. So I do have a question in chat, and let me go to that. This is from April. She asks, what do you think about the mass hysteria events of girls in high school playing with Ouija boards? You guys have any thoughts on that?
Just started.
Well, you probably don't want to know. You probably don't want to know my opinion on Ouija boards.
Now I know your opinion on Ouija boards.
I mean, of course, my opinion with it, I used to be scared to death of it and wouldn't have anything to do with it. And that came from the Christian background that everything was bad and evil. And now I realize it's no different than any other tool that we use, whether if you want to call it a tool or a device or whatever. No matter what you use, you're interacting with the other side, and you can't verify exactly what it is.
Do you liken it to wearing the helmet when we wore the helmet that night?
The helmet was interesting. I really enjoyed that. And I want to do it again. So KD's supposed to be taking it to South Carolina, and I'll be happy to be a guinea pig again. It was very interesting. So what it made for me was it made me a lot more visual than what I normally am. My strongest is claircognizance, and I'm not very strong with clairvoyance. And it was really different. Like I was seeing scenes, like movie scenes, and that playing out in my head. Kind of like when I did my first Estes session, it was really weird compared to what everybody else has told me that they get.
So when you were wearing the helmet, did you have your eyes opened or closed?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember.
Mixture of both.
I think I did both for a while because I'm trying to remember. I have a video of the whole thing.
Me too. I still haven't deleted it off my phone. My phone is so full, it's telling me I can't even send messages.
Right. Well, I know it's on the SD card, so it may not have uploaded to one of my cloud sites, but unless something intervened with it and it took it. I've had that happen before.
Hey, Angel, try coming back in. Sometimes that happens on cell phones, that it loses everything, and then you just go out and come back in.
But yeah, so that was really, I know for a while I had my eyes open, and you're supposed to kind of stare off into space. And of course, one of the issues I have is I wear contacts. So extended times with my eyes closed is an issue. Trying to stare at things and sometimes that's an issue. And then you're supposed to kind of look up, go into this haze, but you're supposed to also kind of focus but not focus on the lights that are flashing. And I don't know if anybody's ever listened to, I always talk about Pink Floyd, The Wall. There's a song on there that whenever I hear it, I used to listen to it with headphones, and your eyes just track because it goes from left to right, left to right, left to right, and your eyes just track with it. And that's kind of what was happening with the God's helmet. Was if it flashed, I'd look here and it flashed over here. And so, my eyes were kind of going back and forth, but I wasn't necessarily seeing the lights. I was literally seeing, images, things that were occurring, almost like watching a movie on a screen. It was just really interesting.
It was, the only problem I had was eventually it was going to turn into a migraine.
Mm.
You know, and I think anybody, it would have been saying that if they sat there the whole time with their eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
Or have an epileptic seizure.
Yeah, I think especially if you're anywhere prone to any of that, you're tired, you have, you know, you're on certain medications. I think it's certainly something that you have to be considerate for. But I mean, I found it interesting. Would I want to do it all the time? I don't know. I've only done it once.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd do it again. So, and
yeah,
Nick,
I want to do it again.
Nick, it was very much like a laser light show, but it was more like having 50 cat balls above your eyes going off at the same time. To be honest, I mean, that's
Right.
what it was. I mean, thank God he didn't use use blue lights, or we'd have been paranoid about where the cop was.
Right.
So, but
yeah, and I think that's part of it, is to get your distraction going. You know, but like I was saying, that with the Estes session that I've done, the very first one that I ever did, and it was different than any of the other ones I've done. But the very first one I did was, and for those that don't know, an Estes session is where you wear a blindfold, you have headphones on, you are listening to a spirit box, and people will ask questions. You can't hear them, and they're going to ask questions. And then the concept is to see if the spirits will talk to you and answer those questions. And my first one, some of the questions were answered, and some, it was almost like people were they knew that I could hear them. And so they were talking to me, and regardless of what anybody else said. And that's actually one of the things that I find a lot when I'm at a location or doing a session, is that if spirits find out that I can communicate with them, then they like to come to me, and it may or may not be. I've had to put boundaries down. Like, I can't have family coming in or friend. I'm investigating a location, and I need it to be this proximity and those that are associated with it. So you got to put a boundary, an admission, so to speak. You can only come in if it's this. Otherwise, I'll talk to you some other time. But it was so weird, because the voices it was like I was seeing a head from the 60s, or they were wearing like psychedelic clothes, and then this head would come in, and they'd like swoop in, say something, and then swoop back. It
Sounds like a bad acid trip.
Well, yeah, if I really knew what that was like, because I've never tried it, but that's what I've heard. But yeah, it was just weird the way that appeared to me for the first time. And I've talked to other people, and nobody that I've talked to has ever had something like that. So if Angel is having trouble connecting back to the site, she says she can't get back to the page.
Okay.
I don't know what.
I'll send
I
her.
don't know.
I'll send her a link.
Okay.
Nice shirt, Scott.
So I don't
Scott's
know.
muted. Let me unmute himself. So,
Okay. Now, hear me now?
yeah, I muted you because you were squeaking.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We took care of it.
I think I want to try that helmet out. I'll give it a shot. You know, I've had to wear helmets in the past, so. But
Well,
I'll
main
try
thing
that.
is eat before you do it, but not too soon before you do it.
Okay. Well, you know,
I hate
with
for you to throw up.
well, I don't know. You mentioned something about, you know, seizures and stuff like that. You know, I've had problems with seizures because of my aneurysm and stuff.
Well,
So
you may not wanna do.
I'd probably have to do it with my eyes closed
Yeah.
to do it. But I would
Maybe
give it a
maybe
shot
with
though.
Maybe with a blindfold on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can do that too. But I'm down for anything.
The concept with the lights is also to help distract something in your cortex. that will help you get to another level to open it up. So it would be interesting. Hey, Angel, I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, we missed you.
You know, it would be interesting and maybe try it partially with the blindfold and then partially without.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick. Good to see you here.
So he said that's what sitting in a psychomantium is like.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he also says that it's what gave Jeremy a heart attack.
Oh, really?
So
I don't remember that part, but
Jeremy wore it at Ghost of Morgan City in one of the shows, you know, in one of those
he
events.
did.
And so, and
that was the true. That wasn't that the other version that was the actual God's helmet.
I don't
He has
know.
the God's helmet, and then he did another one. I thought that was the ghost helmet.
I know he's got two.
Mm-hmm.
So, but apparently, and we knew he had a heart attack on 28 Days Haunted because I know he was taken by ambulance to the hospital. So, and Jeremy's supposed to be at the event on this weekend, so that'll be interesting. So,
But when I see him there, I'm going to ask him what it's like to turn into a werewolf.
Why?
No, I won't. I will not. I'll be on my best behavior. There was one episode where he was with Brandy, and he kept saying stuff like, "You need to get out of the room." You know, like he was turning into some kind of demon or some shit. And
he was supposedly possessed.
It reminded me of. I said it last night in our team meeting. It reminded me of that. Do you remember the Thriller video with Michael Jackson? When he's walking with his girlfriend through the park, and all of a sudden he looks at her and says, "Get away from me."
That was when music was good.
But
not all the same.
But yeah, I don't know what happened. He was, but yeah, if he really had a heart attack, then I don't wish that upon anybody.
Yeah. He left the show in an ambulance, and when he came back, he was talking about the fact that he had a heart attack.
Well, except they were saying that they couldn't find any evidence of anything while he was there.
Yeah, he had a heart attack.
When he got back home, they said that he had a heart attack. So,
come on.
Yeah, he had, like I said, he had one prior too.
He had one down while he was in Louisiana because I remember he had posted some stuff on his page about it, and he was having to take off work.
Yeah, I remember that. So that seems like a long time ago now. But
it does. Of course, everything seems like a long time ago with COVID.
I know. It gave us a hard stop in everything that we were doing. And of course, we're not going to go there because that'll get us taken off the air. And we're not going to do that. So, so
just
Lisa,
a comment that it kind of gave a little different perspective with the timeline of everything.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, Nick, what you're talking about was 2021. What we're talking about was in 2018, 2019. I think it's 2019. Because it was before COVID that Ghost of Morgan City aired.
Well, I just know on his Facebook page, he was posting pictures in the at the fire station.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about it. So
yeah, so it's been, like I said, it just seems like a really long time now.
I know.
But so Lisa, you being a nurse, have you had paranormal experiences in any of the hospitals that you've worked in?
Yes.
I have. How often do you have a paranormal experience in a hospital?
Well, so this is one of the things that I talk about. I basically tried to turn my sensitivity off a lot. One, I'm very empathic. And so being around a lot of pain, suffering, sorrow was very difficult for me. I would become, and you can't do that and be a nurse. And so I learned to turn it off so well that it was really hard for me to turn it back on. And that's one of the things I've been struggling with for the past, 8-9 years, that trying to work and keep a balance where I can be open to receive information and communications, but not overwhelm myself. But yeah, they're definitely, I've had different experiences in probably most every hospital that I've been in, because it's a hospital. So there's going to be lots of stuff going on there. Funeral homes, theaters, they all, because of the amount of either drama, sorrow, death.
I know I've had experiences in St. Joe Medical Center a couple times. Menorah Medical Center.
Which one, old or new?
The one up here on 119th.
Okay. That's the one I worked at.
In the ER.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who walks around there in the ER. He's wearing, of course, a hospital gown, and he's pushing IV. And the only place I've ever seen him is in the ER, and that's not one time. It's been like 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And one day when I was being checked in, when I had the collapsed lung back in 2018, the lady who was checking me in, she said her father died in that ER. And when I described him, she said that sounded like her father. I was like, oh, well, that's weird because he's here a lot. I've seen him, I don't know how many times in there. St. Joe Medical Center. The day I found out that my grandmother died, I was having a test done, and they were doing construction on St. Joe Medical Center, because St. Joe, it used to be you had to go labor, delivery, recovery, your room.
Right.
It was a long ride to get there. And so they didn't have all the birthing rooms built. And they had just finished some construction when my second daughter was born. They were doing some construction on the side closest to the highway, and a big truck went by, and my blood rolled off. I was doing my 3-hour glucose test. My blood rolled off and busted all over the floor.
Man.
And at that time, I saw a spirit go through there, and it was my grandmother Virginia there, Dan, and it was the strangest thing. But she had just died that day.
Oh,
and I don't know why. I mean, I figure she was there because she was waiting on me to have that kid, and she didn't want to die until I had her.
Right. Well, and so yeah, and that I can tell you a lot. I witnessed a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean,
either they were waiting for somebody to come, or they were waiting for somebody to leave.
Yeah.
See, mom had a weird experience about 2 months before she passed away, because we had her over at Lee Summit Community Hospital, and she was in a room, and the lady next door coded. She coded 4 times. Well, mom was kind of out of her head. At least I thought she was. But at one point, mom said, "You need to go back to your room. I'm not ready to go with you." And just as she said that lady coded again. And I just remember the nurses, coming up and closing mom's door so we wouldn't hear all the stuff going on. And that was a real weird experience. And when mom started kind of getting, after she got through her infection and stuff like that, she was talking about it. I was like, wow. She goes, and she explained the lady next door to a T, which was just, that kind of blew me away. So,
well, I know that kind of stuff happens, because when I was in Menorah with the collapsed lung, somebody died. I didn't know it. I was out of it. I was on all kinds of pain medicine. And only thing I know is that there's this woman comes into my room, and I'm in the pulmonary care center there, and
I see you.
Yeah. And they're coming and going, but I don't know what's going on. And this lady comes into my room. She's obviously dead. And she keeps talking to me, and she goes, I'm not ready. And I was like, I'm sorry. And told me, she goes, tell my son I love him. He'll be here soon. And the nurse comes into my room, and they started to go through to close the doors because code blue's happening, and they're wanting to make sure nobody hears anything. The nurse comes in and checks on me, and I told her, I said, the lady that just passed away, I said, she wants her son to know that she loves him. And she goes, what? And she, of course, thinks I'm delirious because I'm on pain medicine. I mean, I was on a lot of crap, and she asked me this question, asked me to describe what the lady looked like, and I told her, and she goes, "Oh, this woman left my room. This nurse never came back." And that happened in the hospital at St. Joe Medical Center too.
Who is it?
I don't know. It's an 855 number. I don't know who it is. So somebody.
Well, I know when my grandfather passed away in Arizona years ago, he was in the hospital for a while, and my folks got a call from the nurse saying, you better get down here and see him. They went and seen him. This is my mom's father. They hadn't even gotten on the plane yet, and he had passed away.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, he was waiting to see his daughter one more time, and once he said his piece, then he was ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean and I've heard of that happening a lot, where somebody will hold on just long enough to say something, and then when that's done, that they're done.
Yeah, my grandma did that when waiting on my Uncle Don to get in, because grandma had 7 kids, and Uncle Don was the last one to get there, and as soon as he got there, she passed away.
Yeah, I've seen that. I can't tell you how many times in all the years that I've.
It's like they need to say their loved ones one more time, and when that's done, that's the road. The road ends.
Exactly. And sometimes it's the opposite. They want, somebody has been around and they won't leave, and so they feel like they can't leave because they won't leave. So,
hey, Denise, was that somebody trying to tell you? Was that somebody trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty?
No, somebody contacted me to tell me that he's a listener of our show, and he was watching and he was seeing something behind me and wanted to know if anybody else was seeing anything in my camera here.
Well, isn't Ron in the background somewhere?
Nope.
He's way over there.
Okay.
Okay.
Got a
So,
kitty cat in the chair.
so
I mean, you
don't
have
know.
activity in your house, right?
Not normal. I mean, yeah,
Some.
no, it's mostly stuff that comes
Is
and
Angel in
goes.
there?
Mhm.
So, Angel, are you
Yeah, I think
seeing
one of
anything?
No.
those. Come on.
Well, good.
Are you picking up on something else somewhere, Angel? Somebody's made a comment that they'd like to hear from you because they'd like to know what you're.
It was a Wyndham Hotel.
Oh, I'm picking up stuff all over the place, but I honestly am not 100% sure if it might be related to cemeteries in the area.
In your area or from one of the listeners?
From you guys.
Anywhere?
Yeah.
Because I'd post your question out, and there's been people that have been commenting. So I don't know if you've seen any of those or not.
I have not.
Yeah, we've got almost everybody has a graveyard.
Somewhere. Mm-hmm.
Well, y'all need to lock up the graveyard stuff because it's wearing me out. No, I'm kidding.
Cassie's up in Leavenworth, if I remember right, and she's like, she has an orphanage cemetery 4 houses up the street. So I don't know if you're getting more kids, more adults.
We have. Do you know? Have you ever heard the story of Paola, Kansas?
Heard of it. I don't know the story.
Okay, so there is I don't know, but in Lewis or in Paola, The
Turn your phone off.
the
Give
guy
it to
that
Ron.
Jean Baptiste, okay, he was the leader of the nation, of the Indian nations, of the 5 nations.
Mhm.
He's buried over there. His wife is buried here in Lewisburg, just down the street. Maybe there's something weird going on with that. You know, why aren't they buried
Well,
together?
Yeah, see, now where I live, I am only about maybe a half a mile from where they found Jessica Runyon and
Kara Kopetsky.
yeah, Kara Kopetsky. I actually used to mess around with her dad,
Mhm.
and we used to run around together. And so I knew Kara when she was just a little girl.
Mm.
I remember the day she was born.
Mhm.
And yeah, they're only about where they found the bodies it's only about a half mile from me, if not less.
Mm.
So that could be something too.
Another interesting thing is I do live on the Potawatomi Trail of Death. Make it
Nice,
work.
nice place to live.
Angel, have you been on Denise's show before?
No.
Okay.
So
Who's the idiot that keeps calling her? That's what we want to know.
it's
You
been
know
like
what?
12 different phone numbers.
He said, hey, Ron, he said his name was Zach Baggins.
Lisa, just out of curiosity, what are people asking in the comments?
Well, somebody was just asking, they wanted to know what you were getting or feeling, which I know, looking and knowing how to read you a little bit, she's getting a lot and she's getting bombarded with stuff. That's why I don't think she's saying a lot, is because she's just getting, and that's kind of what I was, Denise, when you were asking me, that's why I had to turn everything off. I liken it to an old radio with a dial, and I just would turn it off when I'd go to the hospital because I just couldn't. I could not deal with all of that all day long.
I mean, I'm pretty good at this, handling this type of stuff because we had the show for a while where we did readings and stuff, but I don't know, this is like a whole other level of different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe this is one of the times where all the spirits that hang out at my house feel like they have a voice, because I don't give them any. I don't investigate my house, and if I see something, I'll say something to them sometimes, but a lot of times
I think that's part of the reason why he's in my lap.
Right now.
Right? Trying to protect you a little bit, but for you.
Get over here.
Lisa, you need to get your dog in your lap now.
Oh, Lord. No, both of them are laying down sleeping right now. And my Rottweiler's now 85 pounds. And the other one that was supposed to be like 35 pounds is now 60. So they're not getting in my lap.
Come on. I'm being attacked now.
Although I was on a call with a work call earlier today and meeting with an expert, and one of my cats jumped up and wanted to sit right here.
There is somebody in the chat that's having a lot of anxiety over money trouble and car problems. They kind of are in a situation where they feel like it's one thing after another, and they just can't find any peace with the chaos.
Could be April.
Good. Is Dan Williams in there?
Yeah.
My long story, but my son-in-law just lost his job, just found a job. They're worried about making the car payments. They're not here right now, but I know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna go? Go. So
Well,
yeah, they're good. April says they don't have car or money issues.
Okay.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I tried retiring in December and sold the company and everything, and I got bored after a month and ended up taking a job delivering parts. I think I'm more stressed out trying to deliver parts for auto parts company than I was in the whole 31 years of doing concert production. It's like,
more than doing New Year's Eve in New York City.
Yes. Even I'm stressed because it's like I got to be there in a certain amount of time to get these parts dropped off for the customers. Like, oh my gosh, and yeah, I can't. Yeah, I think I actually had dark hair before I started this job.
Right.
So O'Reilly's is worse than own your own company.
The stress wise is, yeah, I'm used to doing showtime right till 5 minutes before showtime, and here they're very strict on deadlines on deliveries and stuff.
Well, and you also got to deal with those crappy Kansas City drivers.
That's what I was going to say. You're dealing with drivers, you're dealing with road construction and closures and
Well, yeah, and I'm just on the city. I'm just on the city route. So I go to garage to garage. But there's some of these garages. It's like I gotta get there, and instead of being able to drive right up to the door, I've got to walk down through mud and all kinds of crap to get their parts delivered, and and then I think I know of about 3 different chop shops in the Grandview area.
Grandview has changed so much since I moved here.
What's that?
Grandview has changed so much.
Yeah.
Food Lane was always horrible. I mean, let's be honest. It was. I mean, and I grew up in government subsidized housing, so I'm not dissing any of it because that was how we lived. But that was dangerous government subsidized housing.
And it still is.
Oh, it's worse now.
Oh, yeah.
It was back then, but still, I mean, I don't know. I don't miss living over there.
Yeah. The funny thing is I was only like my 3rd day working there. And I just happened to be out on the floor talking to one of the guys, and a customer walks in and he goes, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, I have no clue who you are. And he shopped for a little bit, and then finally he goes, you're the guy that came up to my house at 2:00 in the morning and took me back to Kansas City Police Department because I missed court.
Back in your bondsman days.
Yeah, I was like, no, that wasn't me. And he saw my name. He goes, oh, yeah, that was you, because I remember your name, Bart. I was like, oh, crap. Yeah. So yeah, now I deliver parts to the guy like 3 or 4 times a week. He's actually pretty cool. But I thought
everybody has a job to do.
Yeah, if I ever come up missing, it's this guy.
So we've got just a few minutes left, and we've talked about all kinds of things. Some things I didn't count on talking about, but it's always fun talking.
The way it goes.
Well, with there being so many people, we have so many different opinions on stuff, and it's nice to hear other people's opinions and take those into consideration. So one of the things I want to ask you guys before we go to the end of the show, before we tell everybody where to find you, is if there was one place that you could go tomorrow, where would you go?
I'll go first.
Is that what you're talking about? Or because I'd love to go to like Fiji, but I'm not necessarily investigating.
Well, why not? I mean, I want to go to the Dominican
Republic. I plan on being on a beach
and investigate. Ponce de Leon's house. Cat is in Dominican Republic. I'd like to check that out.
For me, it's Myrtle Plantation.
Why?
I'm obsessed with those huge southern, what do you call them, plantation homes.
Okay, because I hope it wasn't for Chloe because they've proven she's fake.
No, I don't know the ghost or no ghost. I just want to investigate that for the property alone. And if I got some good evidence of it being haunted, that'd be a plus. But I've always been fascinated with the homes of that area.
I don't blame you. I'd like to go down and see it. I think there's a couple other ones I'd like to see first, but there's some really neat ones near where I'm moving up there. There's a beautiful plantation home in Spanish Fort, Alabama. So I'll be checking that one out not long after we move. So how about you, Lisa?
Oh, I would probably like to go and do Scotland, just, I mean, in various places. I don't know that I could get one specific. My list is way too big, too long. I don't know.
So are you thinking about doing one of those Scotland tours?
Maybe, but to me, that's kind of like doing a guided investigation. I don't really feel like it's a real, you get a flavor of it, but you don't get the real full stuff. So
If you decide to go, go with Rick from Hollywood Ghost Hunters. He's part of the Scottish paranormal team.
Okay.
So, and he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet.
Mm-hmm.
So, how about you, Bart?
I want to go investigate the bunny ranch.
Well,
because
you've had a few additions lately. Let's say that.
Yeah, well, I've actually heard there's been some devious stuff that has happened to that building.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, clear all the hookers out and everything. Just do an investigation in there would be interesting to do.
Another place you might want to try when you're doing that, maybe the Mustang Ranch, which we know that has been investigated, but the Alien Cat House out in Beatty. As you're heading out there, that road, okay, that place was owned by Ron Jeremy. He used to go out there.
Mm-hmm.
I know enough. But that road there that's on is the most dangerous road in Nevada, and there's more accidents on that road than any other place in the country.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool to go out there and just set up a camera and let it run for like 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm. One night we were driving back, and there was a donkey almost on our car in the sandstorm. Mm-hmm. We could hardly see anything because this road is the road between Vegas and Reno. So you can get to it from anywhere along there, but it's like an 8-hour drive to get to, Reno from Vegas. But we had gone up to Goldfield and Tonopah, and we got to not investigate it, but we got to at least check it out. We got to check out a lot of different things on the way. But that's a weird place, though. The Alien Cat House.
Yeah.
They have
now the other place I would actually like to go back and investigate would be where I interned at the Fisher Theater in Detroit, Michigan. That would be a really, really cool venue to actually go check out.
I bet.
Right, Dan. I'll put Ireland on the list too.
And how about you, Angel?
I was sitting here racking my brain thinking about where I would want to go to investigate. But I don't know that there's really one place above all that I would like to investigate. I'd really like to take a trip around the globe to walk where my ancestors walked.
I've kind of done that in a way. When I go to my cousin Dan's house, it's kind of like that because it was my great grandmother's house. So I get to do that.
I would like to, obviously, here we're in the States. I've got my heritage here, with Native American and things, but I would like to go to Egypt, Greece, Scotland, Ireland, Scandinavia. I'd like to hit some of the spots where people walk that made it possible for me to be here today.
Well, it's kind of surreal. I got a little opportunity to do that in north of Boston. My family, when they first came over in 1650 from Scotland, and they settled in Ipswich. And so when I got an opportunity to go back to Boston for a conference, and I took an extra week and went up and did genealogy research and other research and walked in some of the places, and I went to the cemetery, and it was just the waves of, I don't even know how to describe it, this, spiritual relatives, whatever. It was just so overwhelming that it was interesting, and I would do it again. So to go overseas and do that, which is why I wanted to go to Scotland, but I don't know exactly where. So do a lot of it.
If I'm not mistaken, we're Isle of Man, my family.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not 100% sure about, that's Ireland though. I'm not 100% sure about Scotland. I think it's Edinburgh.
There's two Edinburghs over there. One's in England and one's in Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah, like I said, there's two. It makes it
Right.
difficult when you go, hey, I want to go. Which one? It's just like the Hellfire Club. Well, which one?
Right.
You had a couple. So, but I would like to thank you guys so much for coming on. Will you tell everybody where they can find you? Lisa, you start.
So, well, we have our Paranormal Research Institute page on Facebook. We also, Peggy and I, who couldn't be here, we have our All Souls Paranormal. And I don't know. That's a good start. You can hit us up there.
Okay.
Web page is pending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Eventually, we'd like to have I know social media where it's all at nowadays, but we'd also like to have a professional web page.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the work.
Got to start somewhere.
Right.
So,
and I do have All Souls Paranormal does have their own webpage as well. You can connect to that from the Facebook page if that's where people are, or you can Google us, All Souls Paranormal Research Society .weebly.com or something, because I'm cheap and I won't pay for stuff extra. Free's good.
Oh yeah, free is the way to go. And I love you too, Dan, and give Kitty a hug. How about you, Angel? Where can people find you? And are you still doing readings?
I had taken some time off and stepped away from it. But I am kind of getting back into it. I tend to not schedule personal readings. I don't charge people for them. I like to do the organic type. If Cassie's still in here, she can attest to that. Or Dara even.
Yeah, Dara tells me about your reading with her a lot.
And it just happens. It's off the cuff. I really like working that way. I think it gets a little bit deeper that way. For me personally, I don't know about other readers, but for me, but yeah, I just on Facebook, Angel K. But yeah, slowly getting back into it. I don't schedule, but if somebody was interested and I get a vibe, I may just do an unplanned one. And
Bart, do you have anything you want to end the show with?
Well, let's see. If you're looking for me under my name, Bart Towler, I'm permanently locked out of that account per Zuckerberg. So you can find me at Bernard Weekend. And if that one's in trouble, then you can find me on the other one, Harry Balzac. And or you can find me on the PRI page.
Okay.
So, and don't hold my my posts against me.
Bart is very talkative on his posts, and he has a lot to share. So keep that in mind. And if you get offended easily, I'm so sorry. Don't go there. That's
and
all.
do not send me bills for your therapy if you read my pages.
Yeah, but Bart, when you're right, you're right. You know.
Yeah. God. Well, yeah, that's few and far between, but it's still.
So, well, I'd like to thank you guys so much for being on tonight.
Well, thanks for having us.
Welcome back anytime. Join me here next Monday at 7 p.m. Central. And my guest will be a local psychic medium, Lena Townsend. I've known her, I don't even know, probably 10 years at this point. So been trying to get her back on. Things happen, and it is what it is. And then join us tomorrow night when I'm going to surprise you guys with some guests, Mike and possibly Susan Roberts are going to be on, and maybe a couple other people. So it'll be a great night. So join us here tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central, right here on the Bill of Rights Network. Well, you'll know where to find us. We're always here. So it is. I mean, it is what it is. My show's here. The other show's there. Just join us here on Bill of Rights Network, the Paranormal Pride page, the Bill of Rights YouTube, the Paranormal Pride YouTube. We're now on Rumble. So if you don't want to give Zuckerberg any of your money, go to Rumble and you can see us over there. So, and whoever was calling me tonight, thank you so much for calling me and telling me all that stuff. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry I couldn't answer because I have to pay attention to my guests first and foremost. So you guys have a great night and thank you and come back.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Denise.
Bye, guys.
We'll
Thank you,
touch
guys.
base after South Carolina.
See ya.
Please.
The views expressed here are solely the opinions of the hosts and the guests and not necessarily those of the network, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc. If you have an issue with the content of the show, please contact the show host.